The first 2 days of the year hold a unique power. It's not magic, it's psychology. When you start with intention, clarity, and purpose, you signal to yourself that this year will be different. Think about it. The habits you set in the first 2 days often determine the rhythm of the months ahead. Even small deliberate actions like planning your day, committing to a routine, or taking the first step toward a goal create momentum that carries forward. Reflection is key. The first and second give you a chance to pause and assess where you are, what worked last year, what didn't, who are you becoming. Writing down your answers is more than a task. It's a roadmap. It transforms vague wishes into concrete objectives. And clarity leads to confidence. When you know where you're going, distractions and doubts lose their grip. One of the most overlooked truths is the power of small habits. On these 2 days, a few minutes spent exercising, reading, or learning something new may seem insignificant, but over time, they compound into life, changing results. It's consistency, not fleeting motivation that moves the needle. Motivation will fluctuate, but disciplined practice that begins on the 1st of January creates lasting change. Breaking mental barriers is essential. Many people enter the new year carrying fears, regrets, and self-doubt. The first and second are perfect moments to confront those barriers. Replace fear with action. Replace hesitation with courage. Even if you stumble, starting is more important than waiting for perfection. Consistency matters more than intensity. The first 2 days aren't about overachieving. They're about showing up. They're about establishing a pattern, a template for your behavior, and a standard for what you expect from yourself. Those who understand this principle transform small beginnings into massive outcomes. Vision alone is not enough. These days are opportunities to convert vision into action. Write your goals, map your steps, and take measurable action. The first move is often the hardest, but once taken, it propels you forward with unstoppable momentum. The 1st and 2nd of January are your launch path. Treat them with purpose, and the rest of the year will follow the trajectory you define. The power of beginnings cannot be overstated. Every journey, every transformation, and every achievement starts with a single moment, a first step, a first decision, a first day. The 1st and 2nd of January carry a unique energy because they are universally recognized as new beginnings, offering a symbolic and practical opportunity to reset. This is not about superstition or relying on luck. It is about psychology, habit formation, and intentional action. Starting strong at the very beginning establishes a rhythm for what follows, and how we begin often influences the trajectory of our entire year. When you consciously decide to take charge of the first moments, you are effectively setting the tone for every day that comes afterward. It is the principle of momentum. What starts early and deliberately tends to continue and grow. A strong beginning creates clarity. When we consciously focus on what we want to achieve during the first 2 days, we engage in a process of prioritization that allows us to separate what is important from what is trivial. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances, but those who harness the power of beginnings make choices intentionally. They know that their energy is limited and that how they spend it in the opening moments of a new year can influence the decisions and actions of the months ahead. By taking the time to plan, reflect, and set goals in these early days, we lay a foundation for consistent progress. The act of beginning, especially with clarity and purpose, signals to our mind that change is possible and that we are capable of creating the life we want. Moreover, beginnings have a psychological impact that is often overlooked. Starting well triggers a sense of accomplishment and motivation even from small victories. When you wake up on the first day with a plan, take deliberate actions, and follow through on commitments. You experience a boost of confidence that reinforces your belief in your own ability. This is the principle of behavioral momentum. Success breeds success. The earliest actions act as anchors for your self-perception, shaping how you respond to challenges in the future. Conversely, a weak or unintentional start can create a subtle psychological resistance where procrastination or distraction becomes normalized. Understanding this makes it clear why beginning intentionally matters. It is about creating the mental and emotional framework that supports long-term achievement. Beginnings also provide a natural opportunity to break away from old patterns. The first days of the year are a clean slate, a period where habits can be initiated without the baggage of previous failures or negative cycles. When you decide to begin a new habit, learn a new skill, or take a step toward a long-term goal, during these first days, you leverage the symbolic power of a fresh start. This makes it easier to adopt behaviors that might otherwise feel difficult or out of reach. In essence, beginnings offer both a psychological and practical advantage. They provide motivation and a tangible starting point, which is essential for building consistency over time. Another critical aspect of beginnings is the sense of accountability they create. When you commit to starting something at the very beginning, you are more likely to follow through because the act of beginning is public in your mind. It feels like a promise you are making to yourself. This internal commitment encourages discipline and focus, which are necessary to transform intentions into actions. Even small steps like writing down goals, organizing your schedule, or completing a productive task reinforce the pattern of accountability. These early actions are not isolated. They influence how you behave in subsequent days and weeks, establishing a culture of follow-through and resilience. Beginnings teach the importance of perspective. Every long-term goal, whether personal, professional, or educational, is composed of small segments, each with its own starting point. Learning to value the start and investing energy into it trains us to appreciate incremental progress and maintain consistency. By treating the first moments as critical, we learn that success is not sudden but cumulative. Each deliberate beginning is a brick in the structure of long-term achievement. The first 2 days of the year, therefore, are more than dates. They are a strategic advantage, a chance to set intentions, and an opportunity to establish habits and mindsets that will guide the months ahead. Recognizing this and acting with focus ensures that every year can be a year of growth, learning, and accomplishment. Reflection and clarity are the cornerstones of personal growth and meaningful progress. Without taking the time to reflect, we drift through life reacting to circumstances rather than shaping them. The 1st and 2nd of January provide a rare window to pause, look back, and evaluate the trajectory of our lives. These days are not simply a chance to start fresh. They are an opportunity to learn from what has already passed. Reflection is about more than remembering events. It is about understanding patterns, recognizing successes, and confronting mistakes honestly. By examining the past with clarity, we equip ourselves to make better decisions, avoid repeating errors, and maximize the lessons embedded in every experience. This process transforms the abstract notion of change into a concrete roadmap that guides our actions in the months to come. Clarity begins with asking the right questions. What worked well last year and why? What habits, behaviors, or choices hindered progress? Where did we achieve results? And where did we fall short? These questions may seem simple, but their answers require honesty, introspection, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. Too often people rush into a new year without taking stock of where they stand, assuming that simply wanting change is enough. True clarity, however, emerges from deliberate reflection and deep self-awareness. It allows us to distinguish between fleeting desires and genuine priorities. between superficial goals and objectives that align with our values and long-term vision. Without this level of insight, our efforts risk being scattered, inconsistent, and ultimately ineffective. Reflection also helps us identify patterns, both positive and negative, that shape our lives. By examining previous experiences, we begin to notice recurring behaviors, thought processes, and reactions that influence outcomes. These patterns reveal where we excel and where we need to improve. For example, a person may realize that procrastination or indecision has repeatedly prevented them from achieving their goals, while consistent small actions have brought progress in certain areas. Recognizing these patterns gives us the clarity to replicate what works and eliminate what holds us back. This understanding transforms reflection from a passive exercise into a practical tool for intentional living. Another essential aspect of reflection is emotional awareness. Many people carry unresolved emotions, regret, frustration, or disappointment from the previous year. Allowing ourselves to process these feelings is crucial, because unaddressed emotions can subtly influence decisions, energy levels, and motivation. Reflection provides the space to acknowledge these emotions, learn from them, and release them. This emotional clarity clears mental space for focus, creativity, and productive action. It also strengthens resilience, because understanding the root of past challenges allows us to respond differently when faced with similar situations in the future. Once reflection has provided insight, clarity enables purposeful action. The first 2 days of the year are ideal for translating self-awareness into tangible goals and strategies. By clearly defining what we want to achieve and why, we create a roadmap that makes progress measurable and realistic. This involves setting specific, actionable steps rather than vague resolutions. Clarity turns ambition into strategy, dreams into tasks, and intentions into results. Without it, efforts remain scattered and motivation wanes as obstacles arise. Clarity ensures that every action we take aligns with the outcomes we desire, allowing us to work smarter rather than harder. Moreover, reflection and clarity foster a sense of accountability. When we understand our strengths, weaknesses, and priorities, we are better equipped to hold ourselves responsible for results. We begin to recognize that success is not accidental. It is the product of intentional decisions, consistent actions, and informed strategies. Reflection also cultivates humility, as it reminds us that there is always room for growth and learning. This combination of self-awareness, responsibility, and continuous improvement creates a mindset that embraces challenges rather than fears them. The process of reflection and gaining clarity reinforces the value of time. By deliberately analyzing the past and planning for the future, we understand that each day is an opportunity and every choice matters. This perspective transforms the first 2 days into more than symbolic beginnings. They become strategic launch points. Reflection and clarity allow us to approach the year with focus, confidence, and intention, reducing wasted effort and increasing the likelihood of meaningful achievement. When we take the time to reflect, identify lessons, and define our priorities, we equip ourselves with the vision and direction needed to navigate the year with purpose and resilience. Small habits are the invisible architecture of extraordinary lives. While big achievements often attract attention, it is the consistent small actions taken daily that create lasting change. The 1st and 2nd of January are the perfect time to plant these seeds, because beginnings set the tone for momentum. Even the tiniest effort repeated consistently compounds over time into transformative results. This is not just theory. It is a principle observed in education, business, fitness, and personal growth. Each small habit serves as a building block. Together, they form structures that support our goals, values, and ambitions. Ignoring the power of small beginnings is often why so many resolutions fail. The focus is placed on dramatic change rather than sustainable progress. The concept of compounding applies equally to personal development as it does to finance. Just as a small amount of money grows exponentially with consistent interest, small intentional actions accumulate into remarkable outcomes. For example, reading 10 pages a day may seem insignificant in the moment, but over the course of a year, it can result in reading dozens of books, expanding knowledge and reshaping perspective. Similarly, dedicating 15 minutes a day to physical activity may appear minor, yet it builds strength, health, and endurance over months. The key is recognizing that the first days of the year are critical for establishing these behaviors. When habits are formed early, they create a ripple effect influencing decisions, routines, and the way we allocate time in subsequent months. Consistency is the true engine of small habits. Motivation fluctuates, and relying solely on it is unreliable. The first 2 days provide a structured opportunity to reinforce the principle of showing up even when the immediate reward is not obvious. It is not about performing grand gestures. It is about taking deliberate, repeatable actions that align with your larger vision. Every task completed, no matter how small, contributes to building self-discipline and reinforcing the belief that progress is achievable. These early victories, though minor, build confidence and create a psychological momentum that carries through the year. Another essential aspect of small habits is that they help in breaking overwhelming goals into manageable steps. Large objectives can seem intimidating, leading to procrastination or inaction. By focusing on small achievable actions, we reduce the psychological barrier to starting. For instance, instead of committing to writing an entire book, beginning with a daily target of writing a single page transforms an enormous challenge into a manageable routine. These small wins compound, and over time, the accumulation of these efforts produces substantial results that might have initially seemed impossible. Starting this approach in the first 2 days ensures that the mindset of incremental progress becomes ingrained early on. Small habits also cultivate discipline and resilience. When we commit to simple, consistent actions, we train our minds to prioritize long-term outcomes over immediate gratification. Completing a small task on January 1st or 2nd may not seem impactful, but it strengthens the mental muscles required to maintain focus, resist distractions, and stay consistent over time. This disciplined approach becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. The more we succeed at small actions, the more confident we become in our ability to handle larger challenges. It is through these habitual practices that individuals develop the character traits necessary for sustainable success. Moreover, small habits encourage self-awareness and reflection. Each action repeated daily provides feedback on what works, what needs adjustment, and how our routines influence results. By tracking small habits in the first days of the year, we create awareness that allows us to fine-tune behaviors, optimize time, and make better decisions. The practice of starting with intentional small steps transforms ordinary days into opportunities for learning and improvement. Over time, this conscious approach accumulates into a life that is strategically designed rather than left to chance. Small habits remind us that monumental change is rarely instantaneous. Big results are the product of incremental progress, patience, and consistent effort. The 1st and 2nd of January are more than symbolic. They are the ideal moment to begin a chain reaction of small, purposeful actions. These early efforts set a precedent for the year, teaching that success is built gradually, that effort matters more than perfection, and that discipline is developed, not inherited. By embracing small habits from the start, we create a foundation for growth that transforms potential into achievement and aspirations into reality. Breaking mental barriers is one of the most critical steps toward achieving lasting success and personal growth. Often the greatest limitations we face are not external, but internal beliefs, fears, and doubts that hold us back from reaching our potential. The 1st and 2nd of January offer a unique opportunity to confront these barriers because beginnings provide clarity, focus, and a sense of possibility. By intentionally addressing mental obstacles at the start of the year, we set the stage for a mindset that embraces challenges rather than avoiding them. These early days are symbolic but practical. They signal to the mind that change is possible and that we have the power to redefine our capabilities. Mental barriers come in many forms, from fear of failure to the illusion of inadequacy, from self-doubt to the tendency to procrastinate. These barriers often operate silently, shaping decisions, limiting action, and influencing our perception of what is achievable. Recognizing their existence is the first step in dismantling them. Reflection in the early days of the year allows us to identify patterns of thought that have previously restricted progress. For instance, one may realize a habit of avoiding challenges because of a fear of criticism or rejection. Once these barriers are identified, we gain the power to confront them directly rather than allowing them to unconsciously dictate our actions. Confronting mental barriers requires deliberate effort and courage. It is not enough to simply acknowledge fear or doubt. We must actively challenge and replace these thoughts with empowering alternatives. The first 2 days of the year are ideal for this because they allow for small, manageable steps that build confidence, even minor victories. Taking a step toward a goal that previously felt unattainable, speaking up when hesitation is strong, or committing to a challenging task have a profound psychological impact. These early actions prove to ourselves that barriers are not permanent and that progress is possible through intention and persistence. Breaking mental barriers also involves redefining failure and reframing challenges. Many people are held back by the belief that failure is something to be feared or avoided. In reality, failure is feedback. It is a learning tool that provides insights into what works and what does not. The first days of the year are an ideal time to adopt this perspective because they offer a fresh start free from the weight of past mistakes. By consciously viewing challenges as opportunities for growth, we weaken the power of fear and strengthen resilience. This mindset allows us to approach tasks with curiosity, creativity, and courage rather than hesitation or self-doubt. Another critical aspect of breaking mental barriers is cultivating self-belief. Belief in one's own capabilities is not innate. It is developed through action, practice, and reflection. The first 2 days of the year provide a platform for intentional practice. When we take small, consistent steps toward meaningful goals, we reinforce the conviction that we are capable of overcoming obstacles. Each action, however minor, challenges the negative narratives that may have dominated the previous year. Over time, these repeated affirmations of ability and courage gradually erode limiting beliefs, creating a mindset oriented toward growth, achievement, and resilience. Support systems also play a role in breaking mental barriers. Surrounding oneself with positive influences, mentors, peers, or supportive communities reinforces the belief that obstacles can be overcome. Engaging with these resources early in the year can accelerate progress and provide accountability. The first 2 days serve as an ideal moment to establish these connections, to seek guidance, and to align with people who encourage action, challenge complacency, and model resilience. Combining internal effort with external support strengthens the ability to dismantle mental barriers and maintain progress throughout the year. Breaking mental barriers is about long-term transformation rather than temporary motivation. The first 2 days of the year are a starting point, a symbolic and practical opportunity to set the tone for the months ahead. By facing fears, challenging limiting beliefs, redefining failure, cultivating self-belief, and seeking supportive influence, we create a foundation for consistent growth. This approach transforms the invisible obstacles that previously restricted us into stepping stones for success. When mental barriers are addressed deliberately and early, they lose their power to dictate outcomes, and we gain the freedom to pursue goals with clarity, courage, and determination.